Well, good morning. This is Pastor Marvin Osborne with First Baptist Church of Birmingham, Ohio. And I hope you're well today. I was thinking about this passage today in 2 Timothy chapter 4, and starting in verse 7. Very familiar passage. It says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Finally, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give me on that day, and not to me only, but also to all who have loved his appearing. That idea of fighting that good fight. I started thinking about that this morning as I ended my devotional time and pondering that, the idea of a fight. I grew up in a time where there was no pay-per-view. As a matter of fact, bouts were shown on television, and you've seen different fights. You see Foreman fighting, you see Frazier fighting, you see Ali fighting, and others fighting in their prime, and they were on television. I remember as a child sitting there. I was a Joe Frazier fan, and always liked him. I think he was tough. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the baddest, but boy, he was a tough guy. But you know what I noticed about the fights is that whatever good intentions or bad intentions, I should say, they had going into that bout, there were some of those bouts would go, 10, 12, in those days, even 15 rounds. That it was a long fight. It was a fight of being hit in the face, hit in the kidneys, hit it all over the body, and were there times that in that fight that they thought about giving up? I think if they were honest, they would say yes. I mean, who wants to continue to get hit in the face? But they didn't give up, did they? They made it to the end. Win, lose, or draw, they made it to the end in most cases. And I started thinking about that and started thinking about our Christian life. And, Paul said he has fought the good fight. He's at the end of his battle, he's saying here. I'm in that 15th round. I have weathered the storms. I have been beaten. I have been whipped. I have been shipwrecked. I've been imprisoned. And you go through, he's been forsaken, and he knows what it is to have much, and he knows what it is to have very little. And he says, I haven't given up. I kept going in the middle of all that was going on. In all the pain and all the struggle, he kept on fighting. And I started thinking about that in our life today and how hard it is. Life is hard. Being human is hard. The older you get, the more people you lose and that you care for, you love, and you respect. And they go before you to the Lord if they're born again. And so we live with that grief, and we live with the pains and aches of our body, and maybe financial hardships or marital disruptions or any number of things that go on in life. Life is hard. And so many people will be like that one fighter, and I won't mention his name, who said, no mas, no mas, no more, I can't take any more. And they quit the fight, and they go and wander off into their own perceived happiness. But Paul says he has fought the good fight. He has kept the faith, and he says that there's a reward awaiting you and I who continue to take life's punches and keep punching back. Right? He says there is a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day, and not to me only, but also to all who loved his appearing. He means that those who didn't quit, those who continue to take the blows, those who continue to share Jesus, those who continued in the word, those who continue to be faithful in spite of the hardships of this life. He says there's a crown of righteousness for everyone who lives according to, who loves his appearing. In other words, we're doing this knowing that we're going to see Jesus. We are going to see the King, as the old song said. I don't know what round you are in your battle, but you keep on keeping on. You keep on fighting. You keep on pushing ahead. You keep on being faithful. You keep on weathering the storms of life. You know, number one, we know God is sovereign. Number two, we know that if we're born again, we're a child of God. Number three, we know that he hears our prayers. Number four, he works out all good for those who love him and are called according to his purposes. You know, he has a plan for your life. And if we're going to make it through this fight, as Paul's illustration shows us, we're going to get hit along the way. We're going to struggle along the way. There's going to be temptations to give up. Paul didn't give up. Are you going to give up? Let's strive. Let's covenant together that we're going to get there together. This is Pastor Marvin Osborne saying, God loves you and I love you as well. And I'll talk to you soon.